So welcome everybody and welcome to the right place. I have had the pleasure of having Wafaa cook for me. She lives not too far from where I live, but Wafaa, you come from a fascinating part of the world. Tell us a little bit about where you were born and raised.
I'm from Lebanon. I was born and lived there till I was 35. So I am, as I said, bred and born Lebanese. I think I will always be, although I like to think I'm half English, but certainly the Lebanese trait is big in me. I left, as I said, at the age of 35 when I met my husband, who is Dave, English man, and that's why I'm out of Lebanon.
Well, a lot of people can relate to that, but I believe that food played does play a very important role in Lebanese life. So you grew up in the kitchen and you grew up cooking and baking, is that right?
The reality is I did not cook till I got married. Because my mom was the cook, I was the cleaner of the family. So but we live to eat as a culture. We live to eat. First thought when we wake up is what we're going to eat before we go to bed. I can't go to sleep if I don't know what I'm cooking the following day. And if people visit, it's all about food. It's about offering something to eat. It doesn't have to be fancy. Fruit, nuts, whatever you have is about sharing food. And that is big in my, not only in my culture, in my being. It's very important.
So does your family enjoy Lebanese food as well, or are they very stuck to their British ways?
Ooh, that's very tricky. Actually, I don't want, well, I'll be very honest. My husband does not like anything tasty, and Lebanese food is very tasty. So put it this way, and one of his jokes is, if I don't cook sausages every Saturday, he'll divorce me, he said. So I do cook mixed. I have to say, there is a couple of recipes he can force himself to eat. It just force himself. And if Lebanese people or my family or friends saw how he eats one of the dishes, they will kill him. Absolutely.
You're obviously a very tolerant wife and a very tolerant cook.
So I believe food should be enjoyed, and I don't think people should eat what they don't like or enjoy. I did try to encourage. I never put a pressure, and that's fine, because if you don't appreciate, don't enjoy it, it doesn't benefit you. As simple as that.
Yeah. So if someone said to you, what is Lebanese food? What is the foundation of it, and what does it kind of encompass?
That is very good questions. I get asked a lot. Lebanese food is the result of the position of Lebanon in the world. So Lebanon is part of the Middle East and part of the Mediterranean, and combined the two cultures together, making it the most versatile and better than the both, really. Of course, I have to say it's a combination of very earthy food like beans, like chickpeas, like lentils, wheat, and all of this. But also we have the freshness of the Mediterranean. So we have the herbs, the onion, the garlic, the tomatoes, and all of this. And if somebody haven't tried Lebanese food, I think you have missed. It's simple. It's not doesn't always have to be complicated, but the flavor is so strong in it. And you know, when I say strong, it's very rarely we use chili or hot spice. We use all the spices, but it's all the flavors like the cardamom and the cumin and the cinnamon and all of this. So yeah.
Wow, that sounds delicious. I'm ready for lunch already. So Wafaa, when did you decide to write a book? Did you kind of look around and say, I need to introduce people to my culture and my food, or how did that all happen?
Well, I wanted to introduce people to the food and the culture, but I thought I can do that by nagging, by telling them the time and speaking about it, and offer it to them as inviting them to eat with me, which I, as you know, I do a lot, or sharing it. And I believe in the power of sharing food. I really am a great fan of it. And actually, that's my purpose, I think, at the moment, to promote eating fresh, cooking fresh, and sharing the food. But the book, it's a quite funny story. I never thought I would write a book. I did not plan to write a book, but it just came, like most of my life, never been planned. It just, whatever hit me. I went with it. And just to prove that it can be done, you know, you don't have to have big goals. I wanted to put some of my products or my recipes in jars or sell them in markets. So when I looked at all what is demanded, you know, what you need to do to put food or dips or whatever in bottles and jars, I found it too complicated. So I was working with a business coach then, and she gave me the challenge to work on this step, is to put my food in package really and sell it. So I changed the challenge and I thought, I don't like that. I'll write a book. And that was the why I decided to make a book. I thought it's easier. I don't know if it's easier, but I did.
I think it's a lot easier with all the health and safety regulations and all that stuff.
Yeah,
But,
and you know, the expiry dates and all of this. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
that's a result of a challenge.
Oh, that is amazing.
So sometimes you need to be challenged, don't you, to go in another direction, because if someone challenges you one way and it doesn't sit well, you wouldn't have made the decision to go the other way unless the person challenged you the one way. So I think that's a brilliant way to look at it as well. Planning the book. So how did you now start? Because you can't just go randomly, oh, I love all these recipes, I'm just going to put them all in, because you obviously also don't have all your recipes in one book. So how did you plan?
The second book is coming up, but when I started, I had to think what I want in my recipes. So I knew I'm only doing Lebanese recipes. I'm not mixing and matching, because that's not what I want to do. That's one thing. The other thing, I wanted to do what I ate every day. So part of what my mom cooked. And into introduction in the book, I say about my mom couldn't read and write. So she cooked really what she learned. So they're all very old recipes that people ate every day, and actually quite simple. Very few recipes takes time, but I didn't get to those in this book. Maybe they're coming in the next. So planning wise, it was a jump in the dark, to be honest. Once I made the decision, I want to make the book, I thought, well, all what I can do is try to write the recipes. Now, that was a very interesting challenge. That was more than the decision itself, because when I cook, I don't measure. I just put a bit of that and a bit of this, and always it comes out nice. But I guess I know what is going to be the end result, so I know how it's going to look. So when I'm putting it for people who never had those recipes, that's not going to be helpful. So I end up doing every recipe, God knows how many times. My neighbors had saved on their groceries and the food. My husband doesn't eat most of this, so I had to cook and give it away. So that's how it started, and that's the challenge I found really the most difficult. And then writing them, but also because I speak the way I speak, not everybody always get what I mean, because it's, you know, I'm doing it for everyone, not for Arab people, or I'm doing it for English people and other people who are. So maybe when I say, and measurement and things like this might not be the same. You see, like dice, I got a few friends to read it. So to tell me to try the recipes first after I've done them, and to tell me that they can understand what I'm saying. And I'll tell you, one of the comments, somebody said to me, I was saying dice onion, and she said to me, how big? And I thought, like this. She said, how many centimeters? I thought, bloody hell, who measures? You know, you don't have a measure. Or dice small or big, or you can slice, or anyway. So that is important, I found.
Chop your onion.
So you see, that's just to show what it is normal for us or clear for us is not clear for other people. So I had to think about it and start be careful about this. And also, let's say, between saucepan and pot, apparently there is a difference. To me, it's all container to cook in. Yeah, but just important to keep that in mind. It depends on the market you want to. So that's how it's all gone. And then, as I said, the time was, funny enough, I've done it in less than 3 months, or nearly 3 months, which was nearly killed me. There is about, I think it's all about 65 pages, let's say 2 ingredients and things like this. So you can say 60 pages, 55 recipes or so. Yeah, so for anyone who wants to do a cookery book, I think be aware of the time it takes, because you need to repeat every recipe you write again and again, give it to other people to try it, write it and get somebody to read it to make sure they understand, to different people. So I gave it to different background people, different culture people, so I make sure they understand. I tell you what, one thing I think, to me, I chose 2 things very important, is a wire. I know most people go for the hardback and it looks more professional and more maybe expensive, I don't know. I needed to open flat, because it's a nightmare when you can't open the book.
Yeah.
And also I spend more on the quality of the paper, because if you can't soak it in oil, it's not, I don't suggest that, but if it drops something or you touch it with your hands are wet, you need to be able to wipe it. Exactly. So I really invested in that, in the quality of paper.
So when you'd finished it and you were ready to go, you found someone local who could print it for you. Is that how you kind of managed to get it printed?
Yeah, first of all, as I said, I was working with a business coach and she challenged me on lots of things, and I didn't listen to most of what she said, except to one thing. She really got me to change the cover picture, because she said that is very important. The other thing, I listened and she said cover and the back should be designed by a designer. Do not attempt to do it yourself, as clever as you are, because that's very interesting to you. You're selling it not to you, you're selling it to other people. So I did that. So I got a designer to design the front and the back. And the picture is I've taken, it's all the pictures in my book are people who are my friends, actually, who are amateur video photographers, who came, ate with me and took the pictures of what we're eating. But when I went to, of course, set it on the inside, I wanted to be so simple and so clear. I wanted ingredient, bullet points, easy to follow. Yeah. And as you can see, all the recipes are actually quite small recipes. But so when I attempted that, I didn't think it's really, wasn't impressive, although I like it myself because I've done it. But then I went to another designer to do the whole book for me, and he wanted a lot of money I didn't have. So the printer I met at networking, she was very helpful, because she said to me, she will do the printing, but also she has set the recipe books before. So she did, let's say, where the picture goes, the font, the colors, all of that. And that was much more, I could cope with that cost. So that is about finding how much you have to spend in a way, and how much you can sell it. Because, you know, if I say I want £30 for it, I don't think I'm going to sell much, am I? But yeah, I think that is the thing, the main thing. Cover is to be properly designed because it sells. The cover is important. Of course, important the recipes themselves, but it's finding what budget you have and what you can do and where to put your money, really, because it does cost to produce a book.
Yeah, it does. It does. So now you promote your book in interesting ways. So you have ways to reach people and different communities to sell your book. So tell us a bit about how you sell your book.
Because of my stance on food and my understanding and my passion for it, I did not want my book to be in shops or in mainstream shops. I wanted to sell it to people who heard me talk about food, tasted my food. And so it's not in any shop, it's not in Amazon, it's anywhere. And I wanted this connection, maybe a bit selfish, maybe I'm self-centered, I want to be heard and seen, but I like the connection. I want that people who have the book, they don't put it on the shelf and forget it. They know why they have it, and they know they can use it because it's simple, and they know it's nice food. So I network a lot, as you know. That's how we met.
Yep, absolutely.
So networking was a good source of or way of promoting my book. I am a speaker with the WIs, and I do demos, I do fairs. Not too many. I'm not very good on markets. No, it's not I'm not very good. I do not find them interesting. Although I think it's nice to put your name out and your face out, but I think in market there is so many things going. It just raises awareness. So mainly demonstrations. Whenever I do demonstration, I sell books. The last WI I went to, I sold 21 books in one go.
Wow.
I just couldn't sleep that night. I was, but you see, I think I like to think, or what people tell me when I present my food, I always bring the culture element of it. I explain what it is, and I like people to taste when it's possible. So I get people engaged in it with questions if possible, or by telling them stories. So there is few recipes. Example, one of the things my mom make you laugh. It's complex. It was in. That's one of the reason why when the book idea came to my head, I thought I have to do it. Before I got married, because my mom was the cook and I was working full time and I was out most of the time. So my mom always said to me, I'm going to be so embarrassed when your mother-in-law come to visit and tell me you can't fry an egg. And it sticks in your mind. So I always had, so when my husband proposed to me, I said to him, I can't cook. So
I'll fry an egg.
so so when I did the book, it was one way of saying to my mom, who's not with us no longer, long ago, that I can cook, but I can cook her way, which is from the heart. And yeah, and I think to me is engaging with people, is making people think about the food, that it is, as I said, to me, it has to be enjoyed, it has to be shared, it has to be simple, doesn't have to be fresh. That's what people say always to me, it's fresh when they eat my food. And yeah, so here we go.
And then there's another element to what you do. So you also go in and do parties and things for people as well. So if they need some kind of something unusual and different as a celebration, but you also make bellies jiggle around. So tell us a bit about that.
I tend to catering. I don't like to call myself a caterer. I don't do big weddings. I haven't got the facilities, and I don't want my money and time invested in that. I like to be part of a group where they can talk to me, I can talk to them. So I like to engage with people for my pleasure, but also for them. And so that's why I go. Most of what I do is birthday parties, hen parties, and I give people the option to, or I put the food at the table, or they can be part of it. So I prepare as much as I can, and they can join me in squeezing a lemon, chopping a parsley. What I'm talking about it, that's if they want to. And most of the time people appreciate that because it makes it an experience as such. Now, my other hat is belly dancing. And I like to say, well, my strap line is very funny because I have, as you know, I always say, I fill your belly and wobble it. So and it works for events, so for birthday, dinner parties, hen parties, get together, team building. And so, yeah, that's most of what I do.
That's amazing. So Wafaa, what is your top tips for somebody who decides that they want to put together a cookbook? What would you say that is important? I mean, the cover, you said designer, that's important in the back, but anything else that you think maybe just kind of in making the decision and all of that and the process?
I think if you love food, you would want to share it. So I think it's about just going for it. And I think we live in an era where all things has to be perfect, all things has to be amazing. And I think when we're talking about food, we're talking about instinct, about basic, about survival. And I think we have to put a book in that group where it is for us to give us something we enjoy, something we enjoy to eat, but we enjoy doing. But so it has to be simple. I would say simplicity. And one thing, a friend of mine who I met through networking, said once I finished my book, and he said to me, Wafaa, keep in mind there is no one perfect book. So whatever you do, when you finish, you think, oh, I could have done better. So when you take the pressure of producing the perfect, you do a good job, because we want to do a good job. But looking for the perfect might put you off, and actually it takes the soul of the food and of the book itself. So it's about putting in one's mind, first go for it. It's just go for it and make it however you make it. You can pull it out, you can squeeze it, you can turn it, whatever you want to do. The shape of the book does not matter. It has to be simple to use. As I said, I invested in the paper because I think it's important. There is nothing worse than, you won't pick up a book that is all greased and torn and things like this. It has to be, for me, the recipes has to be not too complicated. I know some people, well, I'm not saying names, but people who do the same culture food, and you open their recipe book, and I'm not joking, the ingredient list is like about half a meter. Things you never heard of and you never find, and you could use again. So that's no good, I think, for everyday living. People will buy them as a gift, which will end up on the shelf, or you do it once and you don't. So I think going back to just get on with it, do it, follow your heart in some way, speak to people. I appreciated speaking to lots of people and friends and people I met randomly to ask their opinion, but I went with what I wanted personally because it's my book.
Fantastic. Lovely, lovely. So tell me, June, Michelle, do you have any other questions?
I was going to go back to the ingredients. Are all the ingredients that you use pretty much what you can buy from Tesco's, for example? Or do you need the specialty shops to get the Rasahal Nut?
You can, at the moment, you can buy nearly everything except a couple of ingredients I need to go to. I wouldn't say specialist, but it depends where you live. I live, we have so many supermarkets and shops where I live, but we used to have a Turkish shop, and that had I think only two ingredients I can't find locally. They're online, but if you go to Bath, if you go to Bristol, if you go to any city, you will find them. You can order them, as I said, online. So it's pomegranate molasses and crushed wheat. Now, bulgur wheat is everywhere.
Yes.
Crushed wheat, which is the finer wheat and the darker because it's got the skin.
Yeah.
You don't find it. I don't find it in supermarkets.
Okay.
Other thing is, I will always say to people, and I don't know if it's politically correct or not. If tahini, we use a lot of tahini in our cooking, and it's very important ingredient in every cupboard because it's full of goodness. And it's so you can do so many things with it. Tahini, the one I find in supermarket are Cypriot tahini, and that is very strong. So if you can find the Lebanese one or Jordanian or whatever it comes, it's much better. But if you ever, and I always say that when I do my talks or demos, if that's all what you find is the Cypriot, you can mix it with Greek yogurt to make it milder.
Yeah.
So they are available, except the crushed wheat is the hardest to find.
Yeah. Just going back to tahini, how long can it live on a shelf?
Long time.
Oh, that's good.
I don't even put it in the fridge. It needs to be in cool place and dark and cool, but it lasts.
It does split though into oil and solid.
That's why it's preserved, because the oil floats.
It keeps it.
And but I haven't got in my head how many goodness there is in how many things you can benefit from tahini. So it's very good ingredient. Okay. And once pomegranate molasses, once you use it once, you will certainly use it again and again because it's very good. Also, pomegranates are very good ingredient to have.
Oh yes, absolutely. You just reminded me, I do have a bottle and I don't use it enough.
I do too, actually.
So I shall get it out.
It's really nice, yeah.
Well, I'm doing a cookery, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, on the 2nd of June, I'm doing a cookery class online. And that's in the evening.
Wonderful.
So far the menu I put in, there is no pomegranate molasses, but I can always add a recipe if you want, or tell me. So if you're happy, it's £35 for 2 to 3, and then we sit at the end, we sit and eat with the screen on, so we chat to everyone.
Okay, so do we actually make with you? Is
Yeah,
that how it's going to work?
I will email you the ingredients,
Okay.
and then we cook step by step, and we have a drink, and depends. Sometimes I have a wobble, and it's just. And then why? Because that's a result of lockdown, and I think the importance of finishing cooking together, but
Yeah.
also taking our food to the table and sitting and eating. And I tell you, I had people getting drunk even online.
I'm not surprised. That sounds lovely. Shall we do that, girls?
I'll get Wafaa to send me the link and I'll pass that on because it'll be amazing.
That would be such fun.
Let me know. I would need at least a week before to send you the ingredient, so you can buy them. Nothing. Well, all what I'm doing is courgette and coriander and things. So simple recipes and available. But if you have pomegranate, you ask me, or before or on the day, I will certainly give you hints and tips how to use it.
Oh, fabulous. Absolutely. Now, the 2nd of June just happens to be a bank holiday, just so that you're aware, girls.
I know it's a long weekend.
It's a long weekend. Yes,
but
it is.
I didn't think everyone would be. It's a Thursday evening. Is it Friday evening? I'm not sure. Thursday. I thought not everybody will be going. Anyone with their mind won't go on holiday in this long weekend.
Quite right.
It could be their holiday, just enjoying some Lebanese food.
Wow. And I thought, it's a Thursday evening. Did I say Thursday, isn't it? So before, you can set yourself for the weekend. And if you're doing a barbecue, you can do some of those recipes.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Now, my husband's a vegetarian, so we eat mainly vegetarian. So
all
of it. Fantastic.
If people want meat, I'm not against meat. I'm not vegetarian. My book is vegetarian, but I'm not vegetarian. I eat everything and anything, but I can't bear chili. Can't bear hot spices.
Good, because Michelle's also vegetarian, so that's
I'm pescatarian,
yeah.
So vegetarian's perfect. But see, my husband's the cook in the house as well, and he loves food. He loves cooking it, but he hates screens. So I'm going to see if I can convince him to join the class.
That would be such fun.
I think it would be a great, because his birthday's on the 1st of June. And
wonderful.
Actually, by giving him the book as a gift, that will tell him you love his cooking.
I do. He's crazy about cooking. It's
that's
I tell you what, there is something that nourishes the soul when you're cooking, and I know it's so therapeutic. I know it's a, what you call it. It's like strapline. It's therapeutic, but it is. It is because you're creating. Even if you're doing the same recipe you've done before, it's this time when you're creating, and I think. Going back to my mom, who couldn't read and write, and she was very simple woman in her life and everything, but she cooked with her love. She gave her all her attention to her cooking. And I tell you what, my sisters-in-law, all of them, they cooked the same recipes. Her food tasted different because she gave it her attention. It was her way to say to everyone, I love you and I'll look after you. And it does make all the difference. It does.
Now, how can we get your book? I'm on the Isle of Man, so I'm a little bit out of your immediate circle. You, Michelle, you're in the north.
You email me, and I will post it to you.
Okay.
I don't like to put my bank details online. So or give me a call or give me your number and I will call you. I'll give you my bank details and I will give me your address and I will put it in the post.
Thank you. That would be so
I'd love to get a copy of your book.
Yes.
You got my email and I'll the link to my website for the cookery class.
I think what also makes it so very special, really, Wafaa, and I think this is what you touched on, is that people know you, they see your energy and your passion, and they want a piece of that. And they want to feel the love that you put into the food and the passion that you have. And I think you've got a really lovely way of doing that, because like you say, if you put it on a bookshelf, it'll just be people go, oh yeah, Lebanese food, oh, interesting, and move on. But when they meet you, they're like, wow, this is amazing. I want to have a part of this. And I think the way that you do it is very, very good. So, I mean, finding a networking community, going to meetings, that kind of thing to tell people about your book, but also the WI and getting people involved in what you do, as well as the parties, because then people meet you.
if you have a market locally, you can also, because that's when you can put something for people to taste and then talk to them. It's all about having the conversation with people. And I think one thing once a publisher said to me, most people go into doing book thinking once they have a book out, it will sell. You have to sell your book. You have to carry it and talk about it and encourage people to know about it. And actually, like everything else, you can have the best product if you don't tell. And however way you can, if you use social media, you do it on social media. You see, Facebook, I sold so many books because people I met, they bought the book, they told their friends, they did the recipe, put a picture on Facebook, and then their friends saw it. So there is ways, it depends what everyone can and what your situation around you. But certainly you have to, I think, not you. It is important to help the book to be spread. So talk about it, show it, share it. I put random recipes every now and on Facebook. It just, and there is not one way that I think is the right way. So you try, we all try. And sometimes, you see, sometimes I go to WIs. I always sell books at WIs. Markets, sometimes I sell, sometimes I don't. As I said, particularly before Christmas, I'll tell you, if you're thinking of a book, make sure it's ready in August. Because after August, it's too late. You need to start bombarding the world about it, because that's the time when people buy gifts, and cookery book is a safe gift.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind for more impact. And people tell each other, and so I have people who buy it and then they order it again to give it as a gift for a friend or for children or whatever. Yeah,
that's amazing. So tell us about the next book.
Oh, I've got a dilemma with this. I like meat, and I've got amazing recipes with chicken and lamb and all of this. And I just need to, because most of the world going towards vegetarian and vegan, I would certainly put meat recipes in it, but there is lots of vegan and vegetarian anyway, because we got a wide range of recipes in the Lebanese kitchen. So I started writing them. I have to say, I wanted it to be ready last year. It didn't work. And then I thought it will be ready this year, and I doubt it. But it's there, it's going to come out. I like to think, I can't get it out for August, but certainly is on the back burner. I'm started writing the recipes as I get along. And it will be, I would like to think, I like, we all like what we do, don't we? So I like to be similar, so people recognize it in a way. I don't want a book like very different. So it will be the size, it will be the wire thing, it will be the same quality and small recipes. And I'm remembering more, like I was talking to my cousin a few days ago on the phone, and she reminded me of a recipe. I forgot all about it with courgette. So I made it. And it's going in the book.
Oh, wow.
Brilliant.
So yeah,
about reconnecting as well with people to remind you of those things, which is also, because otherwise you can't, those treasures disappear, don't they?
But food and people are entwined.
Yeah.
I really believe I want to reach to every human being I can, especially in England, because that's where I live, to shake them and get them to open their homes, to open their hearts, to share food. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be complicated. Anything. Just we need it for our well-being. Food is important for our body, but also for our well-being, for our mind. And I think I found it very difficult when I came here, when people were very distant, very friendly, don't get me wrong, but don't come to their door. And I think mental health shows us now the statistics are horrendous. And one simple things make all the difference. Just being brave to open our hearts and houses and share whatever we have.
I agree.
And I'm hoping my message will reach far. I'm hoping.
Oh, it will. You're on a fantastic journey. I'm so excited for you, because I know that the next book will do really well as well. So any other questions before we let Wafaa go?
Just a thought about your next book, Wafaa, with the meat. Would it be worthwhile going to those local suppliers of the lamb and the chicken and so on, and introducing yourself to them and actually using their produce to create your recipes, so that from source you've connected with the where it's coming from, and they in turn, and I'm sure you must have farm shops nearby where you know you could maybe pop a recipe in with the pack of meat or something along those lines.
I do. There is a couple of farm shop. I used to go and do demos there and stand and do demos and
Fabulous.
like this.
Fabulous.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. You're very right. It really depend on what the recipe is. But we have to remember, although most of us are going into vegan, vegetarian world, meat eaters will always be there. So, but also I'll tell you one thing. I had two people coming to me, and they, cooking with me, and they said their doctor asked them to go back on meat diet. Not too much of it. We all know we don't need, but cutting it all together, it didn't suit some people.
No.
So we have to keep that in mind. It's nothing wrong with eating meat. You choose whatever you want to eat. Absolutely. Like, as I said, my husband, he's a meat eater, actually. He lives on meat, but it just is there, and we shouldn't take it out of the equation. I shouldn't look at people who eat meat like they're criminals or something.
I must say, I come from Namibia originally, so not eating meat for, it must be almost 30 years now. I was not a very popular person in the family because it's not right. You have to eat meat. But there is people need, everyone's different, and I appreciate. I mean, my husband skins deer on the kitchen table sometimes, which is really bad. But it is part of the process, and I quite appreciate that you can go through the process instead of just going to the supermarket and picking up the meat.
Absolutely. And I think, as you said, there is no wrong or right in food. I think if you having a variety of things, actually the basic of healthy food, before I get to that, I don't believe in superfood. Is absolutely nonsense. I don't believe in detox with food. Is absolutely nonsense. All the best thing we can do is to eat fresh, not processed and not packaged if we can help it. So buy fresh and cook fresh, eat a variety of things. So different ingredients, not just potato every day. And enjoy. You have to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, our brain tell our body that is poisonous because we don't like it. So we're resisting the goodness that comes with it. So we don't benefit, but also the sharing. So I would say those are the 4 elements of healthy eating: fresh, variety, enjoy what you enjoy, make whatever you can with it and share it. And I think and going back to simple basic. It just, we're so bombarded. I think the market is so frustrating.
Lovely messages. Lovely messages.
And marketing is driven on fear. So if I make you believe that my product is going to be good for you, then it's a broken system, I think.
See, that's the concept of detox with food, the concept of superfood. That's all nonsense. It's just commercial words, and people buy into that because we all want to be doing well, and they convince us. They tell you like the smoothie. Apparently, the smoothie, whatever brand, is full of sugar. Whatever goodness fruit in it is being spoiled, but then it's sold as it's the best thing you can do. Like what you call reduced fat.
Oh no.
It's actually not. I mean, but we buy into all those concepts. That's why I think going back to a bit of basic really does not hurt. Absolutely.
Wow.
And I have a question about belly dancing.
Yeah, go on.
The very nature of the movement, what are the benefits of that?
Well, it all goes back to the origins of belly dancing. Belly dancing started over 2,000 years ago, so it's not something new, and it survived, of course, so because there is the merits that keeps it going. Belly dancing started to help women with their period pain and birth pain, and even not children, with toning our womanly parts. That's the origin of belly dancing. And as it developed through years and centuries, of course, the entertainment part of it came obvious, but then that's not to entertain men, most people think is to entertain men or please men or whatever they call it. It's actually women to entertain women. And it's in the world, the Arabic world where it's all started, still going now. You know, if you have a friends, you get together, you have a cake, you have a salad, you put music and you start wobbling. And
Amazing.
originate from the place when women weren't allowed to go out and go to the pub and go to.
Ah,
So
cool.
they found this, and that's on the cultural side of it. But as a benefits for the body, it's not about just your belly and your pelvis and your hips and all of this, which of course we use a lot. It's about your posture, is about body confidence, because when you're willing to wobble your boobs and your bum, and it gives you confidence in what we have, and that there is no right and wrong body for it. It's never been for size 10 belly dancing. If you go back 50 years, they were all big ladies. And it's about women appreciating our body.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, as I said, big boobs, big waist, small waist, big bum, whatever it is, it's about appreciating it and enjoying it. That's all what it is.
Fabulous. And do you have to get dressed up in silks and jangly bits?
You don't have to. I never had a costume until I started it as a business.
Okay.
You know, most people ask me, do we have to show our belly? No, you don't. Do you have to have? Somebody asked me if they need a piercing, and I thought, no. In the classes, we don't. Sometimes in winter, I can't be bothered. I go in my jeans.
Oh, good.
I tell you what, when you're dancing, to be honest, you want something soft, to feel feminine. It is a women's dance.
Yes.
So a skirt or a loose trousers make you feel good. And holding something around your hip doesn't have to be jingly. Any normal scarf, put it around your hip. Holding the hips makes you enjoy it and feel it better.
Oh, that's
certainly you don't have to strip off. No tassels even.
Oh, sure. Oh, fabulous. And do you grow your own veggies that you cook with?
Huh?
Do you grow your own veggies that you cook with?
Oh, I wish I can take you to my garden. I have very little, well, I've got small garden, but yeah, I don't never grow enough not to buy from outside. You see, like peas, I grow peas, broad beans, runner beans, cucumbers, tomatoes, but it's only maybe 2-3 plants of each. Well, peas I do more, and they never get into the kitchen. I eat them out. I tell you what, when it's the season now for green peas, well, that's imported because the local is not out yet. Have it with beer. Just eat it fresh green, just like that, not cooked, with a beer. Oh,
is it the best thing?
So I do try my tomatoes. Last year I planted black tomatoes, which is amazing.
Oh, I was listening to Sarah Raven. Are they the Black Russian ones?
No, darker than that.
Really? Oh, wow. No, she was saying.
I helped myself I was visiting a friend and her next door had them. So I was going to help myself, but the neighbor came past, so we asked permission. And we had a couple of tomatoes, and I squeezed the seeds out. And I've got
clever. Oh, very clever.
Oh, Wafaa, you're so lovely. So thank you for joining us. It's been really lovely, and we'll get all that out to our members. And yeah, it would be nice to catch up with you soon.